Yep. I can see me. We're being recorded. So whoever's talking up here, it will pick it up. That's right. And so we'll get started. So my name is Marlene Cook. I'm one of the board members. And I welcome you here to MorningStar. I welcome you here to this spot, which was so dear to Julie. She created it, came up with the design, the wording, and it just seemed fitting that here this would be. I want to thank a couple people. First of all, the donors who gave money to MorningStar in honor of Julie, and that allowed us to purchase the plaque, get that manufactured. Then what are we going to put it on? Well, we want stone. Where are we going to get the stone? Brian and Karen had a stone on their property, donated it to us, and that came over here. The benches here that are made were made by Dawn Goff here, another board member. And of course, Julie, which brings us all together. Her birthday was yesterday, and so we are in celebration of that. I'll give you a quick rundown of the agenda so you kind of know what's going on. Rebecca Kirk is another board member who wrote a song about MorningStar, and she's going to sing it. Then we have different people who are going to talk about the different attributes that are on the plaque. I don't know if you had an opportunity to come up and check things out, but we'll have people direct their words towards that. Gail Marsh is going to do a praise of the four elements, and that's what's going to happen here at the altar. And then Rebecca's going to sing the last verse of the MorningStar song again. We can all join in at the very end. And then that's kind of it. And then we're going to split for food. And Sandra brought some dried flowers, and after everything is done, if you could take a couple of dried flowers and go around the circle, we'll sing the Call Down a Blessing song, and at the end just cut loose with the flowers, and then make your way over to the food. I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. So, Rebecca?
Miss Mary.
Hi, Mary. So, Rebecca, come on up. Okay.
Marlene's getting a copy of the song so that when I forget a word, she can tell me what it is. And I also want to say the last verse of this song is about thanking Julie and Elise for all that we've done here. So I just wanted to sing it for you first, and then at the end, if you'd like a copy of the song, we're going to sing the last verse, the thank you verse again, and I'd love it if you'd sing it. Oh, I come to these trees when my heart needs to sing. we dance with the native daughters here from the past. For they're part of the stream flowing deep in our souls. And they call us to gather at this place where we're home. So today we say thank you to the spirit and the stream, to the bright star that guides all those who follow their dream, to this place in the forest nearby Leroy they've come. Thank you, Julie, Elise, and God for building this home. To this place in the forest nearby Leroy we've all come. Thank you, Julie, Elise, and God for calling us home.
The first attribute that is on the stone, I contacted Elise. She lives in Massachusetts now. She was a co-founder here with Julie. And I asked her to write something about the vision, and this is what she sent to me. When Julie asked me to partner with her in 1986, it was because we had the same vision, which was to create a safe place for women to connect back to the earth and their deeper selves. Over the years, this vision expanded to include workshops that facilitated this inner work, as well as exploring the feminine face of God and building community. We saw that spirit imbued in every created thing. And like Moses when he was caring for his father-in-law's sheep, he found a bush that seemed to be burning. Drawing near, he heard a voice coming from within that said, "Moses, take off your sandals, the ground you are standing on is holy." With this in mind, I found some very large dead sumac branches and painted each of them red. They were then placed around the parking area and were also used in special events, in the hope that we would speak once more, like the original burning bush, that the ground that we walk upon is indeed holy. And now more than ever, we need to cherish the earth beneath us and do all that we can to protect us. That's from Elise Schlaker. Mary? Yeah, why don't you come up? Mary's going to talk about the spiritual midwife part. You can see yourself on the center here.
Among Julie's gifts was her ability to be a spiritual midwife. Julie mediated the transition for many from childhood or young adulthood religion or spirituality, which we were outgrowing, into a broader, deeper, and more inclusive spirituality. She gave many of us new language to address what we were experiencing in midlife.
Thank you.
Because of technology, we also have something from Ira Sutherland. She was a Sistry member for many years, lived here on the land, and Rebecca is going to read what Ira wrote.
Julie found
founded MorningStar out of a desire to empower women, to invite them into the woods and into adventure, so that they would face their fears by coming to recognize the power and strength inherent in them. Though her original vision included physical adventure, it quickly became about the inner adventure. Being a mentor and way shower for both the outer and inner journey came naturally to her. She had a gift for seeing people's strengths and potential, and her way of relating invited people into seeing themselves beyond the limits of patriarchy. I had the life-changing gift of receiving her mentorship. It is not an exaggeration to say this profoundly more aligned and purpose-filled one. Her legacy lives on in me, as well as in the many others she mentored, and therefore her influence is still being felt by countless others. May her legacy continue to ripple out and continue to gift her human family with ever-increasing liberation and heart-centered connection to the earth and spirit.
Brian, would you like to say anything about being a mentor?
Yeah.
Brian Poole is our property manager along with Karen Poole.
Before I start, I did look up baby black widows, and they are harmless. And anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, we discovered a black widow nest at the southern rock of the Spirit Wheel, and we didn't destroy it, as Julie wouldn't have destroyed it. But just so you know, they are harmless. It's only the adult females that will get you. All right, so this is about Julie as a mentor and teacher. There is a spirit that moves through all things, from the farthest reaches of outer space to the inner spaces in our hearts. It is this spirit that makes us whole, is where we come from, is where we go. We adventure here on the earth for a short time, each of us a phoenix waiting to fly. This brief time is our chance to add something back to that from which we came. All that the Great Spirit expects when it bestows the gift of consciousness is that we add a little something good before returning it. That is not so hard to do. There are as many ways as there are people. But there are certain people who go beyond expectations. Some of us ease the suffering of others. Some of us bring peace where there is conflict. Some become guides to those who have trouble remembering their inner selves. Some restore hope to the wounded soul. Some of us give unconditional love even unto those who would be our enemy. Julie Keefer did all these things and more. Julie lives on as part of the spirit that moves throughout creation. Just as we all may hope to do, she lives on in our memories and deeper in our hearts. And thankfully for those many who have yet to make her acquaintance, she lives on here in MorningStar. In MorningStar, she made a place that exists as much in the heart as on the land. It is a place of beauty, unquestionably, but also a spiritual beacon for the wanderer. Julie taught us to love and respect every tree, every spider, every bee, every living thing. She taught us to be safe before being productive. She taught us not to use shame as a way to change someone. She taught the art of steadfast resistance when it comes to protecting Mother Earth. She taught cooperation because we are all connected. And probably she taught us things we have yet to remember.
The next attribute on the plaque is a friend, and Fred Gibbs is going to come up and speak to that. Fred is another member of the board.
Julie was my friend, as well as yours. That's why we're here today, to celebrate her life and to celebrate MorningStar. Back up, gotta get in the picture. That's why I shaved this morning. I met Julie probably around 1983 when she was working at Eagle Village, which is south of here, which is kind of a boys' rehabilitation camp for delinquents. But we also developed other programs there. I'm from St. John's, and we developed a program where every fifth grader in the school would come and spend 2 or 3 days doing the various challenges to hopefully help them in their personal growth. It didn't take long before Julie and I connected and clicked. She lived in a little log cabin up on a hill at Eagle Village, and she had a big 500-gallon jug, or whatever you call a barrel, where that was her heat, that was her fireplace. Somehow, sometimes when you meet people, you just spiritually connect. And that's what happened for Julie and I. We had lots of great conversations and was very comfortable in those conversations with one another, regardless of the topic. Well, I went there and she wasn't there. I said, "Where's Julie?" Well, she's developing a retreat center for women. So I got in contact with her. I said, "I understand you're developing this retreat center for women." I said, "That's great, that's wonderful what you're doing." I said, "Can I come stay there?" And she said, "Sure." So I've been staying here almost every year since MorningStar was developed. And as you all know from your own experience, it's very meaningful, very quiet, very peaceful. I fished the little creek here years ago, and that was also a joy, just a time of getting in touch with nature, your own spirit, the love of God flowing through your heart as we experience this hallowed ground. And so today, as you all know, she was a great friend, and she lives on in each one of us. Thank you.
Rebecca Stieg is a longtime attendee, friend of Julie. And Julie's last days, she really spent a lot of time with Julie. And she's going to talk about Julie's part of being a wilderness guardian.
So I'm headless.
Back up.
I like that, so I'm headless.
She's taller.
Right. Yeah, I was trying to kind of call in what Julie would have me say about her wilderness guardianship. And I was kind of going flat. I think my own thoughts were getting in the way. And then this morning, I woke up with this kind of sense about it, and maybe some images attached to that. And I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to say. And I'm not sure exactly what that is yet, but it has to do with, for me, there was that moment that Fred described where Julie opened the door the first time I met her, and I knew that moment that she and I were going to be great friends. I mean, I could just feel it immediately, the connection. And only over time did I learn how much that connection did not depend on any amount of tidiness on my part. And so someone earlier mentioned, a couple people mentioned Ira and Brian both alluded to this, maybe others, but that that deep, fierce passion that Julie had for protecting the wild wasn't just about, and it would have been enough if it was about protecting the wild, right, around us. That would have been enough, because look what she did, right? But what she did for me that was so sacred was so much more than that. It was about protecting what was really wild and messed up and messy inside of me. All of that was totally okay with her. And when she looked at me, I could see that no matter what I shared with her, and it was some messy stuff, things about myself that I had deep shame about. And she never budged. There was nothing that ever wavered in her love for me. And that was something really different than I'd ever learned. I mean, my parents, my family all loved me, my community and so on, but I had never poured out these things that I was hiding and been met with so much acceptance and grace and just unwavering compassion. And so for me, that was a gift that was so deep, and I would never be able to give that to anyone else today, I don't think, if not for the way that Julie gave that to me. So when I think about wilderness protector, the images that came to mind this morning were the gnarly places. Like, wilderness is the gnarly stuff. When I looked it up in the I Googled what's wilderness, and it was like one of the definitions of the places that are hard to go. The places that are hard to go. She went there with me, and so I can go there with myself now, and I can go there with other people, and it's just not many people can do that. I'll bet a bunch of us can do that. Maybe because she could give that to us, or because we found other places for that, and maybe that's why we love Julie so much. But I appreciate so much what others have said around as within, so without. That Julie could give us and protect the wildness within ourselves too, and that was immense. So I just honor her for that, and thank you for witnessing. Appreciate it.
When Rebecca talked about the wild things at Julie's memorial, I don't know if some of you were here, but we reenacted where the wild things grow. And we all had instruments and anything to beat on, and we walked all through the place just hollering and screaming and beating on instruments, and that was just right up Julie's alley. Totally. It was great. The next is a champion of the divine feminism, and Barbara Carville was part of the Sistry way back, and she wrote a couple words. I'm sorry I don't have it on this phone.
But I was wondering if there, just generally, if there were people that would like to say a word or two about how the spiritual, the feminine, how do we say it?
Divine feminine.
The divine feminine, how she championed that for any of you. She certainly did for me. I can just remember, just the idea. I feel like I've always been pretty connected to the earth, but to call that earth the divine feminine opened up a whole new life for me. And here, I remember when I first came, I could even feel like energy in my feet at different places on this property, and that was the divine. And I felt like because it was connected to Mother Earth,
It was definitely feminine. So anybody else want to just, yeah.
Sorry, I'm bringing the secret wheel with me.
Yeah, that's okay.
Make sure you're in frame.
I met Julie when I was a very young child. I had the fortune of growing up here and being barefoot.
Could you speak a little louder?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So my name's Christina, and I had the amazing fortune of growing up here. My dad's Brian and my mom's Karen. And so as a little girl, I used to run around with Julie. And I was always barefoot and stopping and looking at every little beautiful flower and living in the moment and accepting the beauty of everything that was and is. Because it will never be more present than it is in that moment. And she taught me to look inside myself and see the same thing. And accept me for who I am. Because when I do that, then I can accept others for who they are. And then we all live in a better place. We all live with love when we're accepting. And when we're seeing the beauty in the everyday moments. The small things, the big things, because they're all beautiful. There was a quote about love in a book that I got from Julie. Because when she passed, I also had the great fortune of going through the plethora of knowledge that she had and adopting some of those books. And I don't remember who said it in the quote, but it was just about, noticing the beauty in everything and everyone and being present. Somebody needs you. You might be the only person that individual has. Be present. Open your mind to them. If you have the ability to destroy something, don't. Love it, care for it, mend it. That's what it meant to be a divine feminine to me. And I am thankful for her every day. When I walk barefoot, I think of how grateful I am that she mentored my dad so that he could raise me in unconditional love. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to share?
I'm not going to come up, but I want to thank everybody for saying all the things I can.
Yeah, what is amazing about MorningStar too is that you can be on the property and you feel it. But if you get what MorningStar is everywhere. Wherever you guys live, Elise is in Massachusetts. People are scattered all over. You guys have come in from wherever, and MorningStar is just in you. You get it, and you can have moments of MorningStar wherever you're at. Gail is going to lead us in praise to the 4 elements. They are air, earth, fire, and water. And we have a little altar set up here to represent the different elements, and she'll lead you through that.
Oh, and if someone would like to see while you hear, I do have copies of what she's going to be reading. Some people like to just hear, some people like to see it.
Hi. As Marlene indicated at the opening, this site was chosen as the place for the memorial monument because Julie was inspired and felt called to create this medicine wheel, or as we call it, the spirit wheel. this place. And so we wanted to honor her in this sacred space. And most of you are familiar with the medicine wheel or the spirit wheel. The 4 quadrants can symbolize the stages of life or the directions or the elements. And so in the spirit of the 4 elements, we are going to give praise. We give thanks and praise for We give thanks and praise for brother fire. We walk by fire's light. Even through darkened times and places, fire illuminates each step along the path. Even when the distant view is unclear and in shadow, fire purifies us, burning away the cluttered underbrush and making way for new growth to sprout forth from the ashes. Fire warms and comforts us, dances for us, and energizes us. We give thanks and praise for brother fire. If anyone would like to come up and smudge the monument, please feel free to do so. We give thanks and praise for Sister Water. We witness water's power to shape Earth's canyons and coastlines. Water surrounds us with warmth and safety in our mother's wombs. Water blesses the earth with rain and sustains our life. She cleanses and refreshes us, washing over us in gentle streams. Water awes us with her beauty as waves crash against rocks or gently roll onto the shore, as she cascades down a waterfall or blankets a mountain with a soft white cloak. As she reflects the beauty of the sky and trees in her clear lakes or shrouds a valley in an early morning mist. We give thanks and praise for Sister Water. We have water from the Hersey River. If anyone would like to come and sprinkle the monument, please feel free to join me. We give thanks and praise for Mother Earth. Our feet tread an almost imperceptible path across Earth's valleys, mountains, pastures, deserts, and woodlands. Earth sustains our life with the abundance of her harvests. She shapes us and forms us from the very elements of herself. Earth knows her great power from deep within her molten core, reshaping, reforming, and renewing herself. Earth cradles us on our journey and enfolds us when the journey is complete. We give thanks and praise for Mother Earth. You are invited, if you wish, to come and spread some of Julie's ashes at the memorial site. We give thanks and praise for Father Air. You're invited at this time to close your eyes and focus on your breath, the air that flows through your lungs. We are in awe of air's power to create change. In the roar of a tornado or in a whisper heard only within our hearts. Air serenades us as it blows through the trees and canyons or simply rustles through the fallen autumn leaves. Air cools us on a hot summer night, brings a crisp chill in winter, and carries the sweet scents of summer. Air stirs us to action in song and symphony. We give thanks and praise for Father Air. And in closing, a prayer. We give thanks for the wonders of creation, sun and moon, stars and sky, earth and air, fire and water, north and south, east and west. We know love through loving relationship with the divine, with ourselves, and with each other. We know that we are called to right relationships, contemplation and action, prayer and service. We work to provide care for the sick, welcome for the stranger, shelter for those in need, and to promote wholeness of body, mind, and spirit. Let us go forward with creativity, courage, and wisdom as we work to promote healing, health, wholeness, and hope in our world.
I'm going to invite Rebecca back up to sing the last verse of the MorningStar song.
We have enough for everybody.
This is the last part before we get ready to go over and have some food. So I'm gonna have Sandra's jar of dried flowers, and you take some, and then we're gonna go around the circle if you can. We'll sing the song, Call Down a Blessing, and then when we're done with that, throw the flowers out.
I'm gonna move this to this side.